Hello from the Hoboken Historical Museum. We're streaming out live to Facebook and YouTube. This is Hoboken Talks, where on Thursday nights we talk about Hoboken. And look at all these wonderful people from past interviews. If you're not on YouTube already, stick around after this show and visit our YouTube archive for more interviews from Hoboken Talks. Hello, I'm Jason Patrick Vogel, and I'm here with the illustrious, lovely, and brilliantly talented Michelle Dahl.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle. How you doing today?
Good.
It's a nice rainy.
It's so nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you too for the very first time.
Very first time.
Yeah. What a coincidence that we would end up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a rainy, slunky day out there, and it's beautiful.
On our half block walk here from our home to the historical museum.
I don't think that people need to know where we live. So, I thought we'd start by painting a picture of your past.
Okay.
Maybe before we even get there, you can just tell everyone a little bit about what you do, why you're here,
Okay.
and we'll take it from there.
So we haven't rehearsed any of this. I was just peeking over his shoulder at his notes there.
I don't have any notes.
I don't know what he's going to ask me. So I'm from North Canton, Ohio. Born and raised. I was actually born in Canton, which is home of the Football Hall of Fame, and North Canton, home of the Hoover vacuum cleaners. And
Isn't it your name?
that's an acronym, yeah. Diebold Electronics and Tipton Company, all that. So I'm a Midwestern girl, and moved here to Hoboken in 2000. Well, I moved to the area in 2004.
What do you do?
I am a painter, an artist.
That's why we're talking.
Yes, that's why we're talking.
How did you end up here from Ohio? Like, what brought you here?
That's a good question.
All right.
So I was interested in finding a graduate school, and I discovered the New York Academy of Art there was an ad in Art in America, and it had
That's a magazine, correct?
yes, and it was advertising that Eric Fischel taught at the New York Academy of Art, and he was one of my heroes from back in the day, a painter from back in the day that I admired, and so I checked out the school. It's in Tribeca in Manhattan, and so then I decided that was the school for me. So that's what brought me here.
Cool. So when you came here, before that, you had gone to Kent State University?
Yes.
What did you study there?
Painting.
And?
So I studied graphic design at Kent State, and then I took a little break, I lived in Atlanta for a couple of years, and then I lived in San Francisco, and then made my way back to Ohio and finished out my degree shifting to painting.
From
graphic design.
Yeah. Did you think that you were going to be a professional painter then?
I did not.
Were you a creative child?
I was a creative child, yes. Yes. So for the first part of my childhood, I was an only child until I was about 8.5 years old. And so I would often draw to entertain myself. Back in the day when they had like things like crayons and paper.
So the days of magazines?
Yes, magazines.
Magazine days.
Coloring books.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did to entertain myself.
Just an analog girl in a digital world, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Did you have any interest in going into the arts in the way that you eventually did, or was that just sort of an evolution?
Um, I guess,
Maybe in college, that
yeah,
you
I
found
mean,
inspiration
I
in?
always felt like I wanted to paint or draw, but I didn't actually, I don't know, it's like the 80s. I didn't think that I could do that as a profession at first. So when I was first starting out, my parents wanted me to go a practical route, and graphic design seemed to be practical.
I think that's pretty probably
Yeah,
relatable
to
experience for
everybody.
most
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Also, in the 80s, there weren't a lot of successful female role models in the art world. So even if you had access to
I mean, I
art
didn't even
news
know,
magazine and stuff, there weren't a lot of shows.
I didn't even know
promoted
the art
at the time.
world existed really back then. I mean, so
Not even in your own magazines.
no, I mean, this was early on when I was first starting my undergrad. So yeah, graphic design seemed to be the route to go.
Cool, cool. Can we pull up a picture of Michelle? There she is. She's the one on the lap of her mother who's sitting on the couch, just for viewers there. That's adorable. And this is a picture of you in college, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Can we see the next one? There we go. Now
So
that's some 70s hair right there.
Yeah,
That's some
that was
Joan
when
Jett.
my sister was born. It was 8.5 years old there, maybe close to 9 actually.
Hi, Julie.
And she was my baby doll.
Yeah, it must have been a unique experience to be so different in age, but then also have the opportunity to play around with a little child and maybe for the first time start to feel maybe some maternal instincts.
Oh, I mean, she was my doll baby. Yeah,
She still is in many ways.
live doll baby. Yeah.
So you have your own.
There's,
Oh, here we go.
hi, Vera. Vera's saying,
Hi,
yes,
Vera.
I'm wearing a Dirty Harry Blondie t-shirt. Yes, I am.
The 70s lives
Nice
in
to
her.
hear from you, Vera.
So now you are in Ohio. You have your own child.
Yeah.
And
Any fast forward?
we are jumping through time here.
Yeah.
We're unstuck. Thanks, Kurt Vonnegut. So we might as well just jump into that because it brings us to how you ended up in New Jersey with Evan, hashtag Evan Dibs, in Weehawken first, right? What was that like? What is the move? It must be nervy to pick up and head out of Ohio to come all the way out east to study at the New York Academy of Art, right?
Yeah. So when I was moving out here, I was a single mom at the time and wanting to go to grad school, and I was looking for places to live. I lived in Brooklyn, but Brooklyn seemed like I had to jump through some bad neighborhoods to get to some good neighborhoods.
Well, you would have run into me.
Yeah,
eventually. Spoil all the time.
But so there were some friends that were recommending Hoboken, so I came to Hoboken. But I was coming from a 3-bedroom house with a full studio attic to apartment living here and smaller. Like I had to downsize, so I couldn't wrap my head around like how to downsize that much. So then I started looking at Weehawken, and yeah. So actually, I was driving around Weehawken, and there were 2 women.
I was going to say,
yeah,
actually, it's pretty cool, actually.
So there were 2 women walking down the street with their kids, and they looked to be the same size or same age as my son Evan. So I pulled over and I asked them if they could answer some questions for me, and so their kids were going to the same school as Evan would be going in Hoboken to All Saints. And the one woman was Anna Roberts, who was the mayor's wife of Mayor of Hoboken at the time. And the other woman was Sohaila Sabsi, who ran Sabsi's Produce. And It was,
That's alfalfa now, right?
well, yes, now their kids run it, opened her older son opened a restaurant there, Alpha. But so yeah, so it was just like this fortuitous moment because there were 6 kids in his class at All Saints, and that day I met 2 of the kids on the street pulling over, and I was like, "This is a sign." So I decided to move to, yeah, that's Evan.
Hashtag Evan
Yeah,
Gibbs.
young Evan and young me. Yeah, I love that picture. So they, so yeah, it was like I felt like it was meant to be. So I first moved to Weehawken and had this instant bond with these 2 women who like really brought us in and embraced us and helped me out at those early days.
Well, also Hoboken movers and Jakers.
Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely knew Hoboken. So yeah, it was just like just I felt like I had a good like foundation coming in and knowing some people and having some community to start.
So you're a single mom in Hoboken, I mean in Weehawken at this
Yeah.
point, going to the New York Academy of Art
Yeah.
every day, taking the path, or you taking the bus?
I was taking both. I didn't know the bus at the time.
You were just talking about
the bus. Yeah. But yeah, from Weehawken, I was taking the bus and then taking the path also. So yeah, but I had a car too, so it was like driving down and parking and then going into the path. And it was kind of hectic.
So my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were in Hoboken about 2 years before you made the move. Not only to Hoboken,
Yeah.
Downtown Hoboken, on Garden Street, which is no longer there, but you also made the move into the Newman Leather Building.
Yeah, so I graduated from the academy, and I was I was at a dinner party at the Sobsies, and there was someone had asked me, "What are you going to do now that you're graduating?" And I was looking for a studio at the time, and this couple said that they knew of somebody who rented out studio spaces, and they think that he's renting a space out right now, and it happens to be Tim Daly.
Everybody loves Tim
Everyone
Daly.
loves Tim, and so like that was
True. I'm not being sarcastic.
Yeah,
Everyone really does love Tim Daly.
So I met Tim in 2007, and I got my first studio space at the Newman Leather Building.
Do we have a picture of that first one? Let's see, somewhere in there. I think it's
That
That should
was
be
at the academy,
yeah.
when I graduated the academy, and
that last one I think that's your first studio, right?
no, that's my studio now.
Oh, maybe
maybe it didn't make it.
So anyway, this is your studio in the Newman Leather Building. Now, how long have you been in there?
That's my studio early on.
These are old pictures.
Yeah. So I had a different studio when I first moved into the Newman Leather Building, and then this space, which was Tim's old studio space, became available, and I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to afford that space, but I'm going to figure it out. I rented it out, and my one of my former gallerists rented out the other half of the space as storage. So it worked out at the beginning, and then I eventually started teaching out of the studio as well, for extra income.
I don't know if you want to get into it because we didn't talk about this, but what were you doing for money when you got out of the academy? Because it's it. I mean, the academy is like a boot camp, and it produces so many of the best artists out in the market over the last 15 years. But it's still a struggle for an artist in New York City. I mean, the competition is intense.
Yeah.
You're in Hoboken. You're not even in the heart of like the city. So what was that like? It must have been nerve-wracking.
It was definitely nerve-wracking. So I worked full-time for artists, had artist assisting jobs, and I would teach also. So I started teaching at various colleges, still teaching at New Jersey City University to this day. But yeah, it was super. I don't know. Looking back on all of it, I have no idea. I'm tired now talking about it. I don't think I slept much.
That's why I asked you.
I mean, I was also, making my way as an artist and a single mom. Actually, Dad did move to the city, to Hoboken a year after we moved here, so it did relieve me a little bit of the full time, but it was definitely a struggle.
Well, if it's too stressful to talk about
Well,
that, I'm happy to switch the conversation over to the New York Academy of Art, because as I was saying, that place has evolved from. I mean, when I first moved to New York, the Academy was a place that you would go to do kind of like portrait painting. It didn't really have the reputation as a contemporary juggernaut that it's been turned into, largely due to the incredible artists who teach there now and the administration, David Kratz and stuff like that. But it's a lot, and when you get out, it's almost like a fraternity and sorority of brothers and sisters who all stick together to like help pull each other up and show and exhibit with each other. And
so
talk about that a little
I would say that because I was so busy, as a mom and working, those early days, like the Academy was my friendship outlet too. So I did have friends in Hoboken. Hoboken was like, it made it easy for me because it's a miles-apart town, and I had, a lot of close people here that were, Evan had friends here and everything. But the Academy was my other family here that was really supportive, and I've kind of always continued back to. It's been 20 years since I've been there. So,
speaking of the Academy, there are a few individuals I thought you might be interested in talking about. One is Dina Brodsky, who's coming to stay with us.
Okay.
Next week, something like that. You were telling me a story about how you got your first show in New York.
No, so not.
And I wanted to get into that because what's it like to go from being in Ohio with these dreams of moving to New York City, not really understanding what the art world is, getting here, immersing yourself in this crazy routine of the New York Academy of Art, working on the side, raising Evan, and then finally getting that show, which is like the dream that everybody has when they come.
I had several. You're talking about a different show that I was told you about. That,
that was Michael, right?
Yeah, so that was Michael.
Well, we're moving there anyways.
But anyway, my first show was with DFN Gallery, early, like 2008. So I got lucky early on, and Tim Daly showed there, and my friends, Alyssa, Monks, and everyone. But so that was my first show, and then Dina had curated a show with
Michael Lyons Wier.
Michael Lyons Wier, and that's how I
shout out to Michael Lyons Wier. I was always a big fan of yours.
This is actually one of the.
I was going to say we're sitting in your gallery right now, Michael. I was a huge fan of Michael's program for years. I would follow him with all of his galleries. I would go to art fairs just to see his booths because they were always just the coolest. And it was through him that I discovered you. Who I had never met in person, but was always just such a big fan of your artwork. And it's such a luxury to meet you for the first time right now. I'm a fanboy. Sorry. Seriously though, Michael's stable was filled with all sorts of incredibly talented artists. Many of which came out of the academy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, some, not, I wouldn't say a lot, but yeah, I think there was one or two.
What is this that we're looking at right now in the background?
Yeah, actually, this was a show from 2019, and
this is As Above, So Below.
yeah. This was like right before the world closed down. Right. Yeah, it was actually in September 2019.
Was it 26th Street? This is 26th.
24th Street.
24th Street between 10th and 11th.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so.
Right in the mix of it.
Yeah.
What was across the street?
Good Goes.
Good Goes, right across the street. Yeah. Pretty cool. So that leads me to the most important question of all. How did you meet me?
How did I meet you?
How did we end up here in Hoboken together?
How did we end up in Hoboken? Yeah, so I think early on, like a lot of my friends and I was curating as well. Like we were all, I felt like we were all making things happen. So we're, curating shows together in the city, and that was a lot of fun.
Is your friends from the academy?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Extended world.
And then I think it was Melanie Vogt that curated a show at your gallery. And
I mean, a lot of people from the academy ended up working with us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my gallery, old gallery, doesn't exist anymore. That's why I'm a reformed gallerist.
So
the Lodge Gallery on Christie Street between Delancey and Broome in the Lower East Side.
Yeah, so I was in a show there, and you were interviewing me.
I was.
That's on a panel discussion. Yeah, and I was like, when I actually kind of first thought you were pretty cool.
You beat me too. I'm still not sure if that's true. Well, and then I went on to curate you into another show. I think that was curated by Akeem Duncan.
Yeah.
Called Forever.
Yeah.
I think there's a picture of that one,
we have pictures of these.
The one that says Forever on the wall.
It might be that one got cut. So that's a painting of my son early on.
Did you say that was the first painting you did at New York Academy? Or first major piece?
That's a painting that I did when I was at the Academy.
What year would this been?
2007. Yeah.
Right.
Or no, what am I thinking? 2000. So bad with dates. It would be 2005. I graduated in 2006. So yeah, it would be about 2005. Yeah. Oh, that was a panel discussion. Yeah.
Oh, no, JT.
Yeah. So that was at Jason's gallery in Lower Manhattan, and then fast forward from like 4 years after that, maybe.
4 years after the gallery closed, we connected. Yeah.
I think. Anyway, the next picture was when we got engaged in Rome at the Vatican in the Sistine Chapel. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who I'm going to top that. It's kind of all downhill from here, baby. That was fun. Although this is a nice segue into maybe talking about your artwork and some of your major influences and the artists that have always been with you through time, even if they're not contemporary. There's a lot of influence from obviously the Renaissance. Michelangelo there on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel was one of them.
I mean, all those artists, the Renaissance artists, I was really influenced by the mother and child, from Raphael to Da Vinci, the Madonna and Child paintings, definitely influential, and the I mean,
this is a recurring theme in work, obviously. Your life body work is about intimacy in one form or another, whether it's the self-portraits in the beginning to even the rare portrait of Evan that you do. Although I still think there's more portraits than you think that there are.
Well, actually,
to the mother and child works, and then the couples, and on and on. There's this recurring theme of like spiritual unions and intimate narrative. And we also talked about the idea of manifesting your desires and projecting positive energies into the world to sort of like shift.
So how this all started was that I was, always interested in painting about intimacy, but then I was painting more about kind of the intimate loneliness or the intimate dysfunction behind closed doors, and it was feeling a little dismal for me to go to the studio to paint about the intimate parts of life that I was experiencing at the time, because I was lonely and single. Although I was a mother, of course, that was the great thing, but desiring a family, desiring this more completed family. But anyway, so I was working with, thank you.
Bill
Thank
beautiful
you,
Michelle.
Thank you. So I was working with a coach at the time, and she had suggested that I maybe shift the focus of my work towards what I wanted to manifest in my life, what would make me feel good, and all the focused on connection, focused on what that world would look like. And so that's when I started working with couples and families, and creating these intimate lives that were really kind of out of the imagination and becoming something that I was witnessing and experiencing and painting about. It was really life-changing for me.
So this painting that's up right now on the screen, is a commission, right?
Yeah.
And fulfill us all of the little details that you just described about what you were doing back then and what you're doing now. This is from 2 years ago?
I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. It gets a little blurry. I think around then.
I mean, it takes some time to make, so you may have
well,
started
I made
2 years ago.
So since the pandemic, I don't know if it's because everyone was spending time inside or they were getting used to their intimate family worlds, but I got a lot of requests for commissioned work, and so this family lived in Oregon.
Yeah, I was hoping you could talk about your process, maybe, of how you go about.
So I traveled. I traveled to stay with them for five days, and so as a mother of 6, and so I spent time with their family, photographing them, and in different intimate scenarios. Like that painting there, for example, I was basically standing over them while they were sleeping.
That's a lot of access and trust that they give you. How well did you know them before you went out and spent that much time with total access to the intimate moments of their lives?
I mean, I didn't know them. Usually I know people, but lately it's been that I don't know them as much. So I think because people can sense how, I don't know, there's a genuine trust in the work. Maybe they know that I'll, make a good game or whatever.
No, of course they know that.
Families. But I've been working with families recently that I don't know as well, and it's been really amazing and beautiful.
This is just one of many paintings you did of this family, right?
Yeah.
How many children do they have?
6.
That's just...
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of commissions and just working on these paintings that I would do anyway, but commission work, you get paid up front, which has been really great. And then also making my own body of work for this recently too. So course, continually making my own work and the commission work.
You have other works that you're working on now. I mean, a lot of them, I suppose people might recognize as wedding paintings, but I think we like to refer to them as spiritual unions, because it's as much about the physical reality of physical marriage as it is about the spiritual connection between two people. Maybe you want to talk about that?
Well,
yeah.
So I mean, like, it's kind of weird to talk about the work before it's made, but it's like, I mean, not before it's revealed, I guess, the big reveal. But so I've been working on like the idea of like thresholds, new beginnings, these spaces that are sacred to us before entering into a new phase of life. Weddings is one thing, and pregnancies and birthing, newborns, those sorts of things have been interesting to me. So I don't know. I'm also going into a new phase of life, so it's and we've been engaged for 7 years now. So I thought maybe I'd make wedding paintings, and then it'll come into manifestation.
Hey, worked last time.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm working on right now.
Are there any more of the paintings in your? There's another one. That's a different family, right? Who is this, and what's going on here?
So that's a family. They live in.
This is your new studio too, right?
Well, this is my studio. So it's a family from Colorado, and she's been a friend of mine. She was a former student and now friend, and so that's a commission from a couple of years ago. But yeah.
What's that in the top left corner there?
That's you and me. That's funny.
Is that my shiny bald head? I'd recognize that shiny bald head anywhere. Can we see the next photo? I'm curious. Yeah, there we go. So this is what you're working on now. Yeah. Who are these people and what's going on?
Well, they're people that I know, and it was right before they were getting married, and so it's this sort of pre-wedding portrayal, influenced by one of Botticelli's paintings. Yeah.
I forget the name of that painting, but it's the one where it's got the wind blowing.
Well, this one is two paintings. There's one of a close-up couple, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank of the name of it. And then there's the Primavera
that I
used the vine for.
Yeah. Have they seen this? Yes.
Not in person. But yeah. So that's there are more things. There's a studio tour coming up in the end of this month that you guys can all see the painting in person if you'd like to come by and see it.
Before it gets snatched up.
On the 27th, yeah.
So just on the topic of all of the things that you just said, you also teach out of your studio. Mm-hmm. You do mentorship programs for younger artists, or not younger in age necessarily, but younger in experience with their
artists that are emerging artists. Yeah. So
how do you go about that? And how long have you been doing that for? How do you get into it?
So one of the things that I started early on was working out in my studio because I have a large space. I started mentoring artists and teaching out of my studio. So that was a way for me to pay for my studio, but then it rolled into this thing that I'm very passionate about now, and working and coaching young artists to, help find their visions and their way in building a body of work and
also
technique. Yeah.
Right, like color theory and all those sorts of things.
Yeah. But I do want to bring it back to Hoboken though, because I feel like because I live and work in Hoboken, and it's made it really easy for me to have the ability to manage the lifestyle here. I'm on foot. I've got like a great community here that's always really supported me. And so like there's like time and again they have these open houses for the artist studio tours, and it's been like a way for me to connect with the community. I've had a lot of students from those open studios and sales for the open studios and connections and meet people, all sorts of things. So it's really been like having Hoboken as my sort of place, my foundation of where I live. It's helped to facilitate a beautiful way of life for myself.
Well, we were trying to figure out how many years we lived down on Garden Street for. And that was a cool apartment. It was ground floor, had a beautiful backyard.
Had a backyard.
I know it's even missed now, but you were there probably for about 14 years, and now we've been up here for 3.5.
Has it been? Yeah, since 2001, though, right? 2001.
The move?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies. COVID brain. So my question is like, what do you feel the difference is between downtown Hoboken and uptown Hoboken in terms of living, and how has all of this just changed drastically over the last 17 years of you being?
I feel like downtown Hoboken is more collegey and college bars, and uptown is more grown up.
Was that always the way, or was it all just kind of like?
I mean, as far as since I've been here, but I'm living on both ends. So my studio's downtown, and my home now is uptown. So it's nice to have both. I feel like I'm all over the place now. Yeah, this is Newman Leather Building.
I wanted to get to that because it's such a part of the experience of like seeing you paint is being inside this building and feeling your connection to it, and Tim's connection to it, and all the people who are in there. It's like a symbiotic relationship. This building gives to you as you take from it.
I mean, it's funny because let's see. So I've been there since 2007, and the moment I moved in, they're like, it's not going to last long because it's going to be, torn down and redeveloped. So enjoy it while you have it. And here we are.
That's what they say about artists' careers, though, too. So it's sort of like the building itself is emblematical of like the precarious state of every artist in New York. Right?
Yeah, everyone always asks like, what's happening with the building? And I mean, I know there's plans, but there's no ground broken. So I don't, who knows? I'm just so happy that we're there. Yes.
Hey, that raises a question.
I have a question. Have you encountered any barriers or challenges as a woman creative painter?
Good question.
It's so interesting. Coming from the era that I did, like when I moved here, being the single mother that I was, no one had any empathy towards her. There was no, and I didn't know any other mothers, artists, like young mother artists at the time. I really felt like I was alone in this, and I had to figure out the territory for myself. And it's funny, I think on your post, there was a like from Hoboken Moms. Oh, it would have been a Hoboken moms for me at the time. I mean, I had a small group, but even like now there's all these like artist mother communities and uh, just there's a lot of strong female communities now. And I feel like, back when I was a young artist, it just, especially as a young mother, I didn't have that support at all. As an artist, that is. And I have a very strong community of women painter friends that I feel like incredibly fortunate to have. And that has grown over time too. I think it's just a matter of being here for a long period of time. It starts to be it's a very large world to start, and then it starts to like you start to know people through just being here and going out and doing it.
Friendships and networking.
Yeah. I think that answers your question. but as a female painter, it's better than it's ever been. There's still work to do. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more. I remember not even 20 years ago, there were maybe like 5, 10 major galleries.
Yeah.
I mean, America.
I mean, to have it
were owned by women and operated by women and supported and encouraged the exhibition of female artists. Now that's especially the new generation that's come along to start new emerging galleries and stuff. Explosions of creativity coming out of.
Yeah, I mean, even back then to have a female artist on the roster was unusual. So, I mean,
yeah, it's like the token female and the all white old male.
Yeah, I remember before I moved here, there were 2 young female artists, and that I knew of. Not new, but that was Jenny Saville and Cecily Brown.
Well, nothing's become of those 2.
No, well, they did it big back then, and it was the first example of women that I saw that I felt like that was a role model of something that I could attain. Before that, we had long music, but art world. But in the art world, it was a dance world.
Well, speaking of female empowerment, you are the vice president of the Alumni Association of the New York Academy of Art. Shameless plug. I didn't go there. I got this as some swag. The president is also a woman, right?
Of the Alumni Association.
Of the Alumni Association, yes. Tell us about the Alumni Association and the kinds of things that you guys do. I don't want to get too far off topic of Hoboken, but just on the topic of that, I mean, there is that close-knit community of graduates from the New York Academy that stick together, and it feels like often the leadership of that community is women-based.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're working towards making opportunities for other artists. So I feel like that in general has been, for me, important. I love working with human artists. I love making opportunities for artists. I feel like that, to me, I like problem solving and project doing, and that is fun for me. So that it's been a lot of fun on that.
And you're teaching a workshop there coming up?
So I'm teaching a workshop at the New York Academy, also in the summer. Yeah.
Teaching has got to be interesting. They say that teachers learn more from the students sometimes than the students learn from the teacher. Do you find that to be true?
Teaching has made me a better has, for sure. And it's made me, I feel like I can communicate better. Like, being a visual artist, you have to, it's one thing to just paint and have and do this thing, have it flow through your hand, but to actually talk and paint and teach and form into words what you just magically do, it's a harder, it's hard to vocalize sometimes. So I feel like teaching has made me clarify processes and know a lot about the history of art and the history or technical things, all of that. Yeah. And also the business of art. Like, the business of art is another thing that is like a challenge and knowledge that you want to give to your students too.
Oh, well, as someone who spent more time on the business end of the art world, I'd say be wary. Be wary. But also be grateful, because you take the good and you take the bad. You take them both, and there you have the art world. So speaking of teaching and all of that, what kind of advice would you give someone like yourself, a young Michelle Dahl, who's in Ohio right now, a single mom, with all the talent in the world and all the ambition, and all she needs to do is make her way out to New York City or Hoboken, and get a studio and start painting and put all the time and effort in? What would you say to someone like that?
I mean, I don't know. It kind of, it surprises and shocks me when I look back on time and think about how much I've done and like where I came from to where I am now. I'm a different person for it, and I'm grateful for that. So I would say, follow your dreams, because I feel like I would never have imagined myself where I am right now. As a person, as an artist, in the Hoboken Historical Museum here and there, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's awesome.
What if when you go back home to Ohio, and I know you go back there quite often, and you're close to your family out there, and you still keep in touch with a lot of friends out there, what do your friends make of it all? I mean, I imagine, kind of like most people who come to the big city from either the Midwest or as far away as you can imagine, the people around them don't really have any concept of the reality of being an artist, all the fun stuff, but also all the stresses and everything. What do they think about the fact that you've, made it in the career that you chose for yourself and that you left home to go pursue? Do they celebrate it, or is there confusion as to what you actually do here, or is there disinterest? Or
no, I think that
what's the
people.
feeling?
I mean, I haven't really asked anybody. I feel like people, are admire that I pushed through and made, a success for myself. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would say that if I think about anybody, it would be my son, because like when we first moved here, he was like not happy about the whole situation, and now he is very grateful for the experience, because he found himself as a musician and a creative, and to follow your dreams has been like just way of life, and he's doing the same. So I think more than anything, that's the result that I've seen. the positive result from this.
That's awesome. Yeah. When you go back home, see it differently. How has Hoboken changed you, Michelle?
Maybe
Maybe you're still the same Michelle that you were.
No, I'm definitely not this. I mean, I feel like I'm more cultural, you know. I've been. It's funny. I think about like when I moved here, people would always ask me, "So, what are your roots? Where are you from?" Like I don't know. I never thought about those things, you know. Like, I'm from the Falls, you know, and everyone, you know, the religions are Protestant and Catholic, you know. So here there's just like so much culture and so many different ways of thinking and being, and it's all inspiring to me. So I love that. I love that.
You can help be influenced by it all.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to an hour. I have a few rapid fire questions for you.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Okay. First one. What do you think more, Maxwell's or the movie theater?
It's funny. Maxwell's.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay. If you had to choose between two, this goes out to Dave, by the way, who inspired this question. If you had to choose one new business to open up uptown Hoboken, what would you pick? Hardware store or movie theater?
His answer is the hardware store. Yeah. Mine would be an art store.
That would be great. So third option, thinking outside the box. Next question. We're going to say this at the same time. Favorite restaurant in Hoboken? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Arturo's.
Oh, Arturo's. Arturo's is not
No, Antique Bakery.
Yeah, I love Antique Bar Bakery.
Shout out to the Antique Bar Bakery because that place is pretty rad. And also, you're friends with them, right?
Oh, I'm not friends with them. Anyway.
I figured you were friends with everyone in Hoboken.
I mean, the owner, we face or Instagram friends, I guess.
Fair enough. That's as much of a real friendship.
But I will say that like there's a lot of like local places here that are amazing. One of the places that have been like tremendous in like from the start of when I graduated, especially, was the Right Angle.
I was hoping
they were so incredible. Not only for like deals on my frames as an artist, but they bought my paintings and they promoted my work. They sold paintings of mine, and they were so like I don't know what I would have done without them in the early days of being an artist here. So yeah, shout out to them for sure. Daniela and Pablo, they're awesome.
They're pretty awesome. It's funny, they used to be right around the corner from us when we lived downtown, and now they're right around the corner. They've got 2 locations. Yeah. So, any upcoming projects you want to plug?
I am in.
Also, don't forget to plug in his album.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, my son's album is Breathe Break. You can find Evan Dibbs on Spotify. I am going to be in a show. I won a grant, the Lillian, Orlowsky, and William Freed grant. It was in 2004, and then they're having a show for the grant winners in May in Provincetown at the Provincetown Museum. And that's all I have that I'm wanting to talk about.
Isn't there Open Studios?
Oh yeah, the Open Studios, yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about that? You religiously do these open studios, and
religiously,
they're kind of fun. As someone who's only been in Hoboken for so long, the recurring faces you start to notice when you go to one event here. So I started to learn people's names and meet a lot of interesting people through that. My experience at the Newman Leather Building, but it looks like there are multiple venues all over the place. Right?
Well, yeah. So I know the Newman Leather Building's open on April 27th. So we'll have our studio spaces open to the public for that. This was the Garden State weekend, so there's a lot going on that's different than the Hoboken Artist Studio Tour in the fall. So there's now 2 events for artist studio tours, which is great. I think it's wonderful to be. It's just one more way to feel connected to the community here. And yeah, I do it to be a part of it. And it's great. You're always meeting. There are the usual characters, or character people, but then there's a lot of people that you meet all the time. And it's really great. I love it. A lot of times, being an artist, you have a show in a gallery setting, and you might not get to meet with people one-on-one to talk about the work. Sure. And so this is a way to be able to connect with people and talk about your work and the process and all that sort of thing. So thank you.
Thanks, John. So if people want to find out more information about you and look at more of your incredible paintings, where do they go to find you?
Well, my website is michelledahl.com, and my Instagram handle is Michelle Lynn, Lynn, Dahl, DOLL.com, or Michelle Lynn Dahl is my handle.
We'll put it in the somewhere. There you go. Thank you. Thank you, Rand. Before we go, I would like to thank Rand for being generally awesome and for doing all of this. Yes. Rivera for coordinating it all with us in advance. Thank you both. And thank you to the Hoboken Historical Museum and to all loving citizens of Hoboken, this mile square city of ours.
That we love. Yeah.
My name is Jason Patrick Vogel. You can find me at NewYorkArtConsultant.com. And I have been speaking with the illustrious, the lovely, the amazingly talented Michelle Dahl. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks.
I'm going to take over, and I need to change the microphone here for 1 second. I think I'm good now. Okay. So yeah, that was a great show. Thanks so much, Michelle and Jason. Really learned a lot, and it was great to see aspects of your career here in Hoboken. Coming up soon on Hoboken Talks, we've got Pat Donnelly. After that, we've got Caroline Levin. Those shows would be incredible. Really, just stay tuned and take our notifications on YouTube, if nothing else. Do the same on Facebook. We'd like to thank the New Jersey Historical Commission for their support of our effort here in general, and they have supported Hoboken Talks as well, specifically. Also, the Shipyard Circle, some of our top, they are our top donors here at the museum, and we love all our donors, our volunteers, our staff members, our neighbors. But these are the top tier of financial support people. Thank you so much. We also want to thank Iron State for providing us with our space here in the shipyard. It's been a wonderful relationship, and looking forward to another, 80 years in the lease. Just wonderful. Thank you so much, Iron State. Right up here in the gallery where we're talking is our the show from my Hoboken balcony, the photographs of Philip Jean. They're wonderful photographs of Philip takes every morning at 4:30 during sunrise of Manhattan. So I forget how many there are on the wall right now, 18, something like that. And just come on by to the museum to see that. We have an artist talk also online that you can check out. Downstairs in the main gallery, we have our exhibit, the Hoboken Meadows, curated by Holly Metz and designed by Kevin Shaughnessy. Learn about when so much of Hoboken was marshland and water, meadowlands. Great photos, incredible research, and maps, and it's a real treasure trove of opportunities to learn about why we flood all the time. Well, because it used to be a march. So come on by. Please comment on our videos, like them, share them, subscribe to them. It's always fun to engage in the social media, Facebook and YouTube. And that is it. I'm Rand Hoppy. I'm here at the Hoboken Historical Museum. Thanks again to Jason and Michelle for this great show, and we'll see you soon.